signal and.
Yeah.
Oh, good deal.
Yeah. We sure do. We don't wanna get into an accident, and we don't want a vehicle to get in an accident with us, you know?
You know, you can't win that one.
Yeah.
But one time I forgot who it was, I'll tell you when. I was on the school board for a while, but baseball, me, kicked him over, asked him where he's at.
6 o'clock.
It is.
Yes, ma'am.
We got enough this morning?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I want to make sure. All right, it's 6 o'clock, let the minutes report, state that we started our meeting of the planning and zoning at 6 o'clock. Present, Jason Oliver and Sally Campbell and myself, David Rice. Do we have any public comments?
No, sir.
Anybody?
Let me. Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Yes.
Or do you wanna wait till your presentation?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine, but you didn't have to be right now. If you wanna wait till your presentation, that work. Okay, discussion, we're gonna go drop down there to 3 now. Regular agenda items, discussion, consideration, possible action regarding the minutes from the planning and zoning public hearing and meeting on December 12th, 2003. 2023, you got it.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I got help.
It's
That's
been a while
okay.
since we've been here.
I know it, well, you think about it.
Yeah.
So anyway, we have any discussion on that?
I don't have any.
I don't either. So let's drop on down, we'll go 3.2. Discussion and consideration, possible action regarding minutes from the planning and zoning.
We need a motion.
I'm fixing to get it. I think, no, that's February, I'm sorry, you're correct. Again, and, yeah, I might not be bigger here. Okay, we'll entertain, go back to 3.1, okay? Because we have had a motion on approving those minutes for December 12th, 2023.
I'll make a motion to approve 3.1.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded that we approve the minutes of the of our hearing, planning and zoning public hearing and meeting on December 12th, 2023. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That minutes reflect unanimous. Okay, 3.2. Wait a minute. Make it official. Discussion, consideration, possible action regarding minutes from the planning and zoning commission meeting on regular meeting on February 20th, 2024. Any discussion on that?
I don't have any.
Yeah,
to say.
okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion on 3.2.
I'll second.
Okay, moved and seconded that we, for approval on the, planning and zoning commission regular meeting on February 20th, 2024. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That's record reflected as unanimous. Okay, we're down to 3.3, and we have discussion and possible recommendation to the city council for the conditional use permit for outdoor storage at 13,000 North I-35, Gerald, Texas, 36537 for a U-Haul moving and storage facility to include self-storage, outdoor storage, truck and trailer rental. Okay, would you like to bring us up to date on that?
Yes, sir. Planning and Zoning Commission, this item specifically is for a piece of property that's on I-35 headed north, so you may be familiar with the area. There's the underpass at 5th Street, you're gonna pass the kid zone, there's some parkland that the city is about to improve, and then just past that is the track that we're looking at for this. It's currently abutting another C3 property that is a multi-family site, the Rock Terrace Apartments, and then there's 2 parks that abut this. I'm gonna let them give their presentation, and then we will walk through any questions or concerns that you guys may have.
Okay, so whichever one of you or both of you want to
Yeah,
make a
I'll
presentation.
I'll just kind of go, and if you guys have questions along the way, feel free to stop and ask.
Absolutely.
So, a lot of people know what U-Haul is, but, you know, when we have to apply for zoning or conditional use permits, a lot of people see storage and turn their nose up, but we're a multifaceted business that has numerous things that go into creating U-Haul and self-storage, truck sharing, and the retail sales item are, you know, the big things that often get overlooked, but there's a lot of examples here I'll share. This one's actually in Texas. Sometimes we talk about
Is this, I don't mean to interrupt, is this gonna be relevant to that side?
Yes.
That 3-story?
Yeah, well, this is actually downtown Houston. This is an example, but we have other examples.
So that's not gonna be relevant to you?
It won't necessarily look exactly like this, but we have some in here that'll look pretty similar too.
Down at the bottom corner, there's a little down arrow.
So we've been in business for 1945. We're still a family-owned business. We started with trailer rentals and basically Goodwill. We would send trailers with an envelope and let somebody, whoever they drop it off at a gas station, we would let people know that you're a new U-Haul dealer. Welcome to the team, and that's how we basically got started. So small towns like this are where we excel, and we want to join your community. But we are the #1 choice as largest installer of trailer hitches, automotive aftermarket. We supply alternative fuel for vehicles, backyard grills, one of the largest retailers of propane in the U.S. So we're going to be hitting 80 years in business right now. Same family still owns it. Founded by a World War II veteran. And not going to bore you with all the, every detail, but we try to partner with cities, towns, attracting customers who might not otherwise visit the location, bringing new businesses to cities, ensuring a viable, expanding local economy, improving the quality of life for residents, needing to support themselves and or their families. We would probably employ somewhere between 20 to 30 employees once we were, fully built and operating.
Here?
Yeah. So we represent a responsible business model, which is thoughtful towards the communities in which they do business. We promote social and economic sustainability. We have more than 18 million customers who rent U-Haul trucks in 2016. U-Haul provides positive economic support to a community by attracting customers from different regions. This added customer base increases awareness of other nearby merchants. It fosters relationships that may bring new business to the city, ensuring a viable, expanding local economy. A lot of times we're the first to town. Obviously you guys have a ton of growth here. But a lot of these new developments, things like that, have an HOA. They have a lot of restrictions on what you can and can't have in your yard, how big your shed can be, outdoor furniture, things like that. We kind of provide a safe place for people to put it all. Also, you have a lot of growth, people coming from other parts of the country, Texas. They have to get here somehow. So that's kind of where we try to come in, a little early on and provide them a spot to call home. So won't go into every detail here, but we have 176,000 trucks, 126,000 trailers, 20,000 independent dealers. I think we're at 22,000 right now. A couple here in Gerald already, and then 1,300 of 1,800 are actually adaptive reuse projects, which were buildings that we repurposed: Kmart's, Walmart's, Target's, Home Depot, things that were going to get torn down that we repurposed and turned into a U-Haul facility. We typically try to get in with the retail, Walmart, any of the big retailers, just kind of fit through our zoning needs. So, like I said, this was an example of a ground up we did in Houston. I guess it doesn't necessarily pertain to what we're going to do here, but this is very similar to what our current build looks like. That we're doing one of these in Georgetown right now. When you said Sun City, I laughed because we're actually have a piece of property that we're developing right outside of Sun City right now. We have a modern look. We try to fit with the hotel theme, and you see a lot of this off the freeways. This is one in Illinois we did. This one's in Arizona. Illinois. This was Colorado. Again, this is kind of what we're building right now, almost identically to what we're building in Texas as far as what it would look like as a finished product. And then You guys have any questions so far, or?
You said propane, are you planning on?
What's that?
Are you planning on selling propane?
Yeah, most of our locations, almost all of them dispense propane.
You know, I said here, I'm not interested what you do or where.
Yes, we
I'm
would plan to, yes.
That's what-
Every location that we could legally sell propane at, we do.
Pardon?
So are they capable of selling propane at that location?
There's nothing in our zoning code against it, so if they passed, the rail commission and got their permits, we don't have anything to restrict that in our current code.
Okay, so there's no reason for them not to get that type of permit, from what you said.
Yeah, very
Yeah, our
few,
code wouldn't restrict it, they would have to go through the rail.
very
commission.
few communities in Texas restrict it. We have other areas where it does, but like I said, anywhere we can do it, that's one of our big business models that we try to.
So would it be one of those large stand-up tanks that you're referring to, or are you talking about like the stuff that you see at Walmart?
No, it would be either a stand-up or horizontal tank. Again, that's normally dictated by zoning. We normally do stand-up just because it's more efficient.
So this is where you could, I guess we could choose if we wanted them to have a stand-up one
Well,
or horizontal.
and how big a tank are you gonna put in, because that's
Well,
gonna,
that would be the railroad commission, right?
Yeah, that's all dictated by the
Yeah.
railroad
Dictates
commission.
that.
I'm just thinking that close to houses and,
But you're not that close because you
Yeah,
have
you're-
commercial behind the piece of property. That's what she said.
Those are parks. So there's, that on your map, if you're looking at it, that number 3, those are apartments.
Those are the apartments.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, and then there's 2 parks, so
Okay.
1 and 2 are
Okay.
both parks. One is a city park that we have, on the plan next year to,
So there's nothing there yet. It's kind of just like.
the number 2
Number
park.
one, I'm sorry.
Number 1, yes,
There's
it's
just-
in the plan for next year.
Okay.
Number 2, it's a fully established park. They have a playground, ball fields, the works. And on, just as a point of clarification, on this item specifically, we cannot dictate the size, the shape, or the position of their tanks. It is only for self-storage, outdoor storage, and truck trailer rentals.
okay. We,
I mean,
continue on.
we had some other stuff that I don't necessarily think pertains to this location, and I don't wanna bore you with little details that don't necessarily pertain, so. Willing to answer any questions you have regarding, the uses we plan to do, or, what we plan to.
That was
operate
the
with
hard
there.
part because there was nothing, there really wasn't anything given to us about really what it is that you're going to build there. I mean, is it just gonna be a bunch of trucks with a small little?
No, it'll be a multi 3 or 4 story building,
Okay.
Can
primarily,
we
It
do
has to
that?
be three.
We have a limit on the height. You
Ours,
can't have over 3 stories.
our zoning code in the C3, it's higher now. We did the update, and part of that was lot design standards, and I don't know it off the top of my head, but I wanna say it's closer to 45, 55, in that C3 district, which they are.
Can we get that height?
Yes, sir.
yeah, so normally, we dictate if we go 3 or 4, and the fire department's who normally dictates that.
Yeah, I would assume.
But our primary business model now and what we plan to develop, the only way that we would buy a bare land site and develop it in today's economy, with what it costs to build, would be an indoor climate controlled facility. We would do, a handful of outdoor drive-up style units, but that's not our business model that we're currently building today. It's all indoor climate controlled, retail showroom and then the truck rental, trailer rental.
So you also plan on a retail showroom?
Yeah, so that's what,
model as well?
that's what separates us from any storage competitors. They don't occupy their buildings, they run them remote or from a keypad or kiosk.
Exactly.
We actually bring personnel. One of our big incomes is truck rentals, obviously, but also boxes, moving supplies, propane,
Yeah,
bike racks, bikes, hitch installs.
install hitches, things like that.
Yeah, so like I said, we're a multi-use purpose, where a lot of
So how
times,
many bays do you think that you're going to have in the?
we only have, for the hitch installs,
Yeah,
just one. And it's not, we're not a repair shop by any means. It's,
Right.
we have our retail showroom and then typically one garage door for, the hitch installs.
Well, I'm not I have concerns about the program. I do.
Yeah, our tank's no bigger than a tank that you would really have at your house if you heated with propane or had propane that, you know, powered some sort of refrigerant or things like that.
But you're not gonna be selling program.
We will.
But
Well, no,
you're
sorry.
gonna have to have a pretty good size.
Well,
tank
sorry.
to sell it.
I'm referring to the propane tank that somebody would have permanently fixed at their house if they didn't have a natural gas supply.
But
Not referring to the 20-pound tank, that's what we're gonna fill. But typically our tanks are 250 or 500-gallon tanks.
so you're not gonna sell that.
We get multiple deliveries, I mean,
Because that's they have a lot bigger tank.
yeah, I mean,
a Tractor Supply over here than a 500-gallon tank.
yeah,
You're way smaller than they are right here next door.
we're the number one supplier in America, so 250 or 500-gallon tank, we get multiple deliveries as they empty out.
Evident.
A normal 20-pound propane tank holds 4 gallons. So,
So, from a city perspective, our primary concern with this project is that, historically, especially during our zoning code update, we talked about placemaking the 35 overlay district, what we actually want 35 to look like. With the 2 parks that are abutting these projects and with the plans that we have for the city park being a trailhead and a regional fixture, staff is not overly supportive of this project, just given the fact of the direction given from planning and zoning and the city council. From what our future land use map says, from what we've talked about in all these updates that we went through, the guidance was commercial, retail, sit-down restaurants, placemaking, a place where people wanna go with their families. This is a pretty prime piece of 35 real estate next to a very large city park, it's 20 acres. So, long range, looking at it, at the end of the day, whatever your recommendation is, that's what we'll take to council. But the guidance previously given to city staff was not this type of project.
So close to parks and residential. So that would be a prime location for those restaurants. For the retail.
Prime location.
Yeah.
Cause we're still working through the details of what that park is gonna look like, but we are talking about a very large shared use path that leads into it. There's a stock pond on site ready to go, and we have allocated budget next year to put in equipment and make it a place to go.
That's where that baseball field sits on 47, there's a little baseball field, that's on the backside, I think.
It's near Kid Zone, it's near the granary.
I guess. I don't
Having
like
other
it.
alternate property in mind, Matthew?
that's the only one that we could find that was the size that we would typically pursue.
My question also is, you have, as you mentioned, we do have dealers here in town already.
Yeah, how would that
So you're
impact
not
their,
protecting your dealers when you put in competition?
They have a primary business model, U-Haul's just a portion of, you know, the income they make. But typically when we build in a town that only has dealers, now that we're a destination where people could drop trucks off at or rent storage, normally their inventory and income actually increases quite drastically. Because right now, anybody that wants to move to Gerald, or going to Georgetown, or, you know, wherever the next storage location is, they're going to Round Rock, or they're going north to Temple, they're bypassing Gerald completely. So the U-Haul business that we have with the dealers that are here don't support what you guys actually are, how fast they're growing. They're not actually benefiting from it.
What do you anticipate for sales? In
You
this
mean as far
area,
as,
since evidently you've done some studies
yeah,
about this area, so you have an idea of what you anticipate your sales to be, so we can kind of see if there's enough.
I mean, it's
generated.
boxes and moving accessories, tape, things like that, they would do every bit of $1 million. The truck rentals are,
Is that, just as a point of clarification, is that sales from you guys or is that sales tax?
that's sales that we would do and just that. That's a portion of the business, but then we also have hitches, we have propane, other taxable items. It'll grow for 10 years, you know, every city's different. We have some cities that sell more boxes than others, but realistically, I would see at least $1 million in sales from, you know, taxable items as far as boxes and
The levy supply sales tax is 5%, 4A,
It's,
4B. 4A and 4B would be
I
5.
think it's 4,
Yeah, it's a quarter.
yeah.
Of the million.
No, like it's a quarter of $1, or it's a quarter of the,
25,000,
But
Right,
that's the
off of a million. right?
At a quarter, it'd be
so the calculations would be.
Is that right? 25,000 off of a million, if that's,
It's big math.
that's okay.
Um,
She's got it going on down there.
Because it's a certain portion, if they make $1 million, it's a quarter of 80,000.
a quarter of 80, 20,
So $20,000.
Well, this, that's 125, what he was.
My mind works, okay.
And just as a point of reference, the Starbucks site that's on 1 acre is bringing in 3,000 a month
Tax revenue,
in tax revenue, $3,000 a month in sales tax, and we split that in half with the fire department. We would not split this property in half with the fire department.
We get all, whatever is on this piece of
It's,
property, we're gonna get all of it.
All of our
Oh,
allotted
oh,
portion.
yeah, there you go.
For whoever decides.
What do you guys get from property value? I don't know that.
0.313.
Because all in this will be a $15 million development. I don't know if that helps.
Well, what would help me more than anything is to see what you're gonna do. I haven't seen anything you're gonna do. I haven't seen the layout on how that's gonna sit on that how it's gonna, how close is it gonna be?
We would
to the-
typically have that, but the seller, when they purchased it, there was an error with the title. So we cannot get a completed survey, and we've been delayed.
So we're way ahead of the ballgame here.
Normally, we set all this up and have a survey and a site plan, and I can tell you exactly what it would look like. But the seller they dropped the ball when they purchased the property a couple years ago. So that's in some sort of court, and until they can get it cleared, we can't get a survey to provide a site plan.
Well, I don't wanna give a conditional use
We
without,
don't, yeah.
without seeing what you're gonna,
Yeah, that's what really
we've already been
concerned
down
me.
this road once
Yeah.
before
I was
without
really
anything.
concerned not
and I don't wanna
seeing
get back in that.
anything.
Yeah, I mean, we could give you a site layout of where the buildings and everything would be, but I don't know if I could tell you when exactly we would have a completed survey to get an actual site plan.
But it's irrelevant until you get that.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter, you could show us anything, so until,
We can't prove it.
yeah.
The city can't prove it. We're here to represent the city council
No,
and do their legwork prior to them seeing it. And we're not getting anything to help us make a decision that we can make a recommendation to city council. So as far as I see it, I can't
Well, the type of what they're wanting to, based on Jordan's,
recommendation.
well, not even recommendations, but just the statements.
Reminder of what
The
we had done.
reminders of
in
what
the-
we were looking to do in this particular area.
I know
I
it
don't know if this necessarily fits
doesn't fit
already.
It doesn't fit
Even
this master
if we
plan.
knew.
It's listed as regional commercial in our master plan, which again is geared towards that placemaking.
And
So
one of
sit
the
down
things
restaurants,
was,
retail, stuff of that nature.
The
So-
park fits in more to the small town environment that we're trying to put in also.
Well, the park is great, and
I think it's-
I think
and
it
we need
would, restaurants and things of that matter would be more appropriate in the area of those
Agreed.
parks.
I agree with you.
But of course, the council decides all of that in the end, but we can only make the recommendation.
That's it. So,
Do you feel anything different? I mean, Sally.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the number of storage units we already have here.
yeah.
We do have
When
quite a
we
few.
moved to Gerald, we kept our overflow in one of them locally, kept that going for almost a year before we got it cleaned
Well,
out. But
there's
there
one
too,
right on the
there's a-
backside.
I do,
that
that
number's
one.
even more even than when we first.
I will
moved.
agree, I do see the need for Gerald to have something like that here, but probably not there.
Yeah,
That's
so,
really the consensus, and I understand what you're saying,
because we have the retail aspect, so that's why we need to be in a retail location. We can't be, 10 miles off the back road
We're
or.
really
We
trying,
have
like I
lots
said,
of-
with the parks, we're trying to kind of build some character.
I understand, I mean, you guys wanna see what,
Well, we wanna,
what's on your plan, but
I think that's, I think you understand where we're at on this deal.
no, 100%, like I said, I can get you a site plan, but it's,
I don't know if that.
I don't know when
that's
I
gonna
can get it
help.
for you.
To be honest, I don't think it would help for us. It might help when the city council actually decides, when they take, our recommendations. They could go a whole different direction. We never know sometimes.
Well,
We think we're on the same plane, but there are sometimes that things happen, but.
Well, I think Sally hit it on the head, talking about the parks and
Oh, yeah, I agree.
the aesthetics of our town. I don't, nothing, I'm not saying,
It
I'm
might
not
be the most
saying it would
expensive
look-
building that you have
Yeah,
on 35
and
here, so.
Yeah, and I agree that that's what, I totally understand what you're saying. What you're building, it looks nice, but it doesn't fit what we're trying to put on that specific piece of property, I guess you could say.
I understand, I mean, I don't have something to show you exact, and I get that, but we wanna build something nice in Gerald.
Sure.
We'd love your support, but
appreciate that.
we can't change your mind, but if we don't have your support, unfortunately, we gotta go to the next town up the road.
Sure.
We understand.
Or you can
that.
spend that money there, so, consider that, but we'd love to be here. You guys are growing fast, and
There's
somebody,
that.
I'm sure this won't be your first request to build storage on one of these sites. Because I know you said there's a lot of units here, but you could triple it and quadruple it, and every one of them will be full, so. There's definitely a need for it, but like I said, we're the only one that staff our locations and have the retail aspect, so that's why we wanted to come here and try to, build something that would add value to the community, whether it's what,
Well, we understand it would add value to the community. It just may not be the right place for it to be in the community. We certainly understand that.
well, what part of your zoning are on the map that would allow that use?
So the way that it's written right now, anything in commercial is gonna require a conditional use permit, anything in industrial zoning or business park would be allowable. We haven't pre-zoned any industrial sites, especially given our industrial zoning now is true industrial zoning, whereas before it wasn't. So we didn't pre-zone anything industrial, just to make sure that when stuff comes in, it's
Is there
for
any-
a reason.
Is there anything in the industrial zoning that's Highway 35 accessible?
There is
yeah.
no industrial zoning yet, so when properties are coming in, they have to request it because our industrial is true industrial now, whereas before it wasn't. The other option is business park, and there's several zones throughout the city that are pre-zoned business park. And then, anything nearby that's conducive would have the same zoning application process.
Okay. Do we wanna take action on this or anyway?
Just recommendations to the council.
Well, not right now, we're not gonna take this to the council without everything we need to have.
What else are you wanting?
Well, I just wondered if you wanna try to do that.
No, I'm asking, that's why we're having this discussion.
Well, that's what I'm telling you. If you
So-
wanna make, go ahead.
If I may, the way that we noticed it, it was with going to council. So the notices have two dates listed on them for this P and Z and this council. So, we, as a P and Z, can table it. But it was still, because it was published as a public hearing for council,
We need to make both.
a motion needs to be made, whether that's you make the recommendation to table at council, and that's what we present to them. But we have to open that public hearing on council.
Recommendation for council to table
Yes, and for it to come back to P and Z.
it, and what's the alternative?
We can recommend denial, and we can, present that to council, the first week of August.
I mean, for me, right now, presently, y'all are way short of what everything we need, so I'm recommending denial. That's what I would do. I'm a little bit harder and tougher, I guess, but
Well, I'm,
that's what I'd recommend is denial, and I know probably what you, but
yeah, that's what I'm different. It's not necessarily the fact that you don't have,
but it doesn't fit.
it doesn't fit, that's
That
why
is
I
why.
recommend.
There's
denial.
something further south, is that where the industrial area in the south end of town?
So the way that we have the zoning map situated now, and you can kind of see it on the page with the exhibits.
If you go,
So up on the northern end, closer to 305 on First Street, there's some business park there. There's some by Builders First Source and that Roadster's gas station.
But you're just wanting on 35?
there is a
Like
big,
visible from
Well,
35?
there's a
That's definitely part of it, but we also need to be where there's residents as well. You know, we can't be out of town. That's
so they're gonna be driving.
Part of our-
They're building a whole
Yeah.
freaking subdivision.
Well,
back
I
there.
get- well, I'm-
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with the specific
There's
area
so
you're talking,
much-
I'm just, one of our requirements is drive-by traffic, the other
Oh,
is
Lord, have
residents
mercy.
in a, you know, a certain
If you
distance.
have no idea what's getting built back there.
I've driven down, up and down every one of these roads, I know. trust me.
There's
Okay.
some on
Insane.
Town Center, and there's several locations that are pre-zoned business park and would be an easier transition into. And then anything that, any property that's not in city limits now, anywhere in the city can, in theory, be annexed, zoned accordingly and receive. In order to get utilities, annexation's a requirement, so it's all part of the process.
Also on 305, if you're going down the access road or the interstate, if you'll, as you turn on 305, if you'll just look off to the right before you get to that, what's the way they call that, service station or truck stop up there?
On 305.
Where
Yeah,
Popeyes
where
is
the,
at?
they have the equipment rentals,
Oh,
To
the-
see.
where the-
they have
yeah,
the equipment
Just
rentals,
roadsters.
and then if you look off and you want a storage space, there's about 8 rows or 10 already set up, sheds.
Yeah.
One side, I'm just saying, we got new stuff, we got a lot of storage facilities here in this town, well, maybe you didn't see them all. But there's a bunch there, and there's properties available along that road that are easy access. You got 2 roads that'll take you straight to 35, you can see 35 from them. They're not up on 35, there's, because that road that comes in next to that truck stop, heading towards the Raptor Company on the other side of the truck stop, but there's a Y that comes through there, goes right in front of that storage unit that I just talked about. And then you can go right on up, get 35, it's all right, there's a V right there, and I think there's a sign on it for sale.
I've looked at most of them.
Okay, I think you'll see a sign on that one for sale, and I think there's one also for property for sale right down from that storage unit, which is closer to the truck stop. I think there's a sign there as well. So, I'm just saying, there's a place there, of course, right down on the back side of this area here on 47, there's a storage unit back there as well. Have you seen that?
We know of
Right on
everyone.
47.
So
You
the
go right
reason,
back.
reason we're different though is we have climate controlled multi-level. The drive-up units are, you know,
I get it.
you don't wanna put your
understand.
$1,000 TV on the road.
I get what,
Yeah.
I'm a little different, I understand what you're saying.
So with our retail aspect, we have to be with retail. So if for us to make this
You
work,
wanna be on
we can't
35.
be on a country road.
Right,
We
you
need to
wanna
be in the
on
retail
35.
area.
But the
We-
business park industrial, that wouldn't satisfy with.
I mean,
It's
It's
not.
not on 35. so-
yeah, and again, our retail aspect where our employees work are in a retail showroom. So if we tuck on the corner somewhere that's, you know, that doesn't fit with retail, so. So we're multi-uses, I mean, storage is the one that gets frowned upon, but that's, you know, our business where our employees work every day in
I'm
retail.
not frowning upon it, I'm trying, I'm just
Just right
trying
next
to
to
be
the park.
as
the
nice
park
as I'm trying to
has-
be.
I like
I
Yeah.
agree that the city needs, this town needs probably something like that, but where you're wanting to put this is just not the spot for it. This is not what we've got it set up
In the
for.
plan. So you're making that form of motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, moved and seconded that we deny this, U-Haul application. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, and it's unanimous. Okay, I mean, there's other, I've said already what to do, but there's other places out there.
I know, like I said, we looked at a lot,
Yeah,
that was the
so-
one that fit our business model the best, so that's the one we got under contract,
I
so
hear you.
we appreciate you guys.
I bet you.
Take care.
There being no further business on the agenda, we will adjourn at 6:35. Are those for us? It's just.
I mean,